Hello, dear Stoics. Today we are going to talk about the acceptance of fate in Stoic philosophy. However, before we get to our video, we have a request for you. Please don't forget to subscribe and comment so that you don't miss our videos and interact with us. Your support is very valuable to us. We have power over the mind, not external events. We must be extremely honest with ourselves and never be afraid to face the truth. Realize this, and you will gain power. The virtue of accepting one's destiny, whatever it may be. The Stoics believe that all people are equal before nature and are at her command. She determines who a person will be born as and what his fate will be. Since one cannot change one's destiny, one can only accept it. To do this, it is necessary to refuse to evaluate anything as good and bad. We are so accustomed to comfort that the slightest inconvenience causes resentment. If the internet takes a second longer to load than it should, our natural reaction is annoyance, if not rage. None of these events make us unhappy. Unhappiness stems from the emotion we have chosen. The responsibility for our inner state lies with ourselves. Stoicism teaches us to give up excessive attempts to control ourselves, since external circumstances are far from being in our control. Our attempts to influence the world can succeed or fail. So the only thing that really gives us confidence in the future is faith in our own beliefs. Epictetus generally states that very few things depend on the individual, much less than we tend to think. We are not even in control of our own bodies, possessions, or what the people around us say or do. The only things that are truly in our power are our attitudes, thoughts, and opinions. The ancient Stoics taught that because humans are social animals, the path to well-being can be found. Accepting the world as it is instead of resisting it, because it is not what we think it should be, learning to manage both the desire to seek and experience pleasure and the desire to avoid discomfort, using logic and reason to objectively understand the world around us. Working together as a community and acting fairly towards ourselves and others. The fundamental practical principle of Stoicism is as follows: there are things we can control, there are things we can't control. What we can control are our thoughts and actions. What we cannot control are the thoughts and actions of others, the past and future, the weather, the laws of nature, and many other things, for example, the conditions of birth, including heredity and parents. The secret to finding peace of mind and inner stability is to shift our focus from those things we cannot control to those things that are within our power. For example, right now I'm making a video. What do I have control over? How and what I'm filming about. What I can't control: what gets written in the comments, how many views and likes it gets. Note, if I let my thoughts drift into the realm of the uncontrollable, I create psychological tension. Obsessively thinking about how the public will perceive my creation can contribute to an unhealthy, debilitating perfectionism. Such thoughts also cause fear, which leads to persistent procrastination or killing the original idea. More than once I have seen DTF users confess that they would like to write a long read, but don't do so because they fear a negative public reaction. As a result, by keeping the focus in the zone of the uncontrollable, we block the creative impulse and the potential opportunity for development and experience. If we do get down to it, we deprive ourselves of joy and pleasure. Hence the recommendation when starting work: it is better to set the motivation at the outset to "I want to do a thing that I will enjoy," instead of "I want to do a thing that others will enjoy." Negativity, suffering, and poor mental health affect us when we abandon virtue and give in to impulses and vices. The list of virtues often varied from school to school and philosopher to philosopher to philosopher, but most schools of ancient thought agreed on 4 basic pillars: wisdom, moderation, courage, and justice. Stoicism teaches that adherence to these virtues will bring us closer to the happy, fulfilling life that so many strive so hard to find. At the same time, the Stoics realized that time is our greatest asset. Unlike any material possession, once lost, ours can never be regained. Therefore, we should strive to waste as little time as possible. Calendars and schedules should help us, but we should not become their slaves. At the same time, the Stoics emphasized the need for purposeful action. We must take care not to simply react to circumstances, but to live intentionally. We are taught that optimism serves as the key to a happier life, but that's not what the Stoics believed. They felt that this practice introduced passivity into daily life and encouraged simply hoping for things to improve and not taking concrete action. Instead of denying the harsh realities of life, the Stoics chose to embrace them. The philosophers regularly conducted the exercise of anticipating calamity. The goal was to imagine the worst events that could happen. For some, it was loss of reputation. For others, financial ruin and poverty. But common to all was death. Here are some of the questions adherents asked themselves. How would things look if things went wrong tomorrow? How would I handle this situation? Should it change the way I live my life today? The Stoics took precautions to prevent an undesirable outcome. We must be extremely honest with ourselves and never be afraid to face the truth. This is the best way to prepare for success and be prepared for failure. The philosopher Emperor Marcus Aurelius states in his Meditations that only virtue is good, vice is bad, and everything else is indifferent. It is the doctrine of indifference that is probably responsible for Stoicism's reputation for being harsh and ruthless. But it is far better to live by personal rules and ignore the opinions of others. To describe this philosophy, the following comparison fits perfectly. A good archer does his best to hit the target. But once he releases the bowstring, it is no longer in his power to make sure the arrow hits the target. A sudden gust of wind may throw the arrow off course, or something may intercept it before it hits the target. Nevertheless, the archer is a professional. He did the best he could. It is the external factors that he is unable to control that can hinder his actions. The Stoics believe that one cannot blame a person for what is beyond his control. It is not hitting the target that makes an archer an expert, but the fact that he has put in the diligence to become one. This means that he tries his best to hit the target and does not care about the end goal. The Stoics suggest that we should have the same attitude toward the tasks of life. Only our own actions are at our mercy, and if you consider external factors that are beyond your control to be important to happiness, you are shifting responsibility to chance. In this way, the Stoic becomes wiser, more restrained, fairer, and more courageous. Not only that, he develops the ability to accept what is beyond his control and take responsibility for what is within his control. By and large, nothing we accomplish matters. We see ourselves as the protagonists of our own story. This creates an illusion of inflated importance. But the truth is that this perception only exists in our minds because the people around us have a similar mindset. Thus, we don't need to submit to irrational expectations and outside pressures. There is no need to chase achievements in the hope of leaving a legacy. All that matters is that we live by our own rules. It is the only way we can truly say we have lived a good life. Ultimately, Stoicism leads one to become aware, accepting, emotionally mature, and tolerant. You are unable to influence international conflicts, but you are able to control your immediate environment and your own actions. Having control and responsibility for what we do increases motivation to actually do the work. For example, in the 50s, this phenomenon manifested itself in the form of the Betty Crocker box, a quick cake that could only be made by adding water. But the launch failed. After bringing in a team of psychologists, it was discovered that the cakes didn't sell because women didn't feel involved in the cooking process. They preferred to take a few extra steps to feel their own contribution to the success of the project. Focus on aspects of life that are within your control, such as routines, personal relationships, and self-care. This will add motivation. Break down big goals into more achievable tasks. Achieving small milestones will keep you feeling accomplished and motivated even in the midst of chaos. The same goes for embracing something new. When we try something unfamiliar, areas of the brain that are not normally engaged are activated. Dopamine and serotonin are released. As a result, your mood improves and you are motivated to keep going. Research shows that if employees are consistently rewarded, they are more likely to feel valued, stay with the company, invest in it, and feel committed to it. The same is true in any other situation. Amidst the global chaos, small acts of kindness and compassion can be incredibly motivating. Watching people come together to support each other in times of need will inspire you to do the same. Consider getting involved in local or global initiatives that align with your values. The happiness of knowing you've done something good increases your productivity and makes you more successful. Seek out communities that share your concerns and values. Engaging in constructive discussions and mutual support will give you a sense of belonging and motivation. It will remind you that you are not alone in the face of the world's challenges. Don't forget that an important part of setting goals and staying motivated is taking responsibility for achieving them. Studies show that after setting a specific goal, 80% of people who sent a weekly update to a friend about achieving it were successful in accomplishing the goal. Self-care practices help maintain physical and mental health. These include regular exercise, a balanced diet, quality sleep, and techniques to help maintain mental balance, such as meditation. A healthy mind and body are better at helping you stay motivated. Finding motivation in an unstable world is certainly difficult, but not impossible. By maintaining a healthy balance of consuming information, focusing on what you can control, setting achievable goals, and cultivating resilience, you can continue to pursue your dreams and aspirations despite the chaos around you. Remember, the ability to find motivation in difficult situations is a testament to your inner strength and resilience. I would like to thank everyone who watched this video. If you found it helpful, please support it by liking and sharing it. I encourage you to subscribe to our channel to receive more helpful content. I'm sure you won't want to miss the video that will be released in the coming days.